What's up, guys? Today we're going to be going over the new DPS Kings this season, fusion rifles and linear fusion rifles. The new artifact mod, particle deconstruction, turns these things into DPS monsters. As you see right here, we can easily no TP the Prophecy Dungeon boss with just 1k, which is pretty crazy. And we were doing this consistently on every single attempt last night, so it's very easy to do also. And in this video, we'll be going over a bunch of fusion and linear fusion DPS. Let's go ahead and begin looking at the artifact mod. If you did not watch my Smith class build, what it does is dealing damage to a combatant with a fusion rifle or linear fusion rifle grants bonus damage with a fusion rifle or linear fusion rifle for a short duration. This effect stacks up to 5 times. So pretty much how it works is you just hit the enemy with a fusion or linear and it'll stack up to 5 times. It's roughly like 7.5% per stack. It'll cap out at 40% with times 5. And you can't see what stack you're at, you just gotta hit them 5 times and you'll get to the max combo. And the cool thing about this mod is any person on your team can apply it to the boss, then anyone's fusion or linear fusion damage will be buffed by that 40%. So even if you don't have the artifact mod yet, as long as one person on your team has it, it will still work for you. And as we showed off in the Vex video, if a debuff is applied to enemy, then you try to use the artifact debuff, it will not stack. But the most important part is if you get the fusion debuff first, then apply a different debuff, they do stack. So this is pretty much just 40% more damage to linears and fusion rifles that no other weapon in the game can get right now. As long as you get the fusion debuff first, then apply any other debuff in the game, that 40% plus the 30% will stack. So for this video, all the DPS numbers with the fusions and linear fusions will include that 40% as their base DPS number, because they're the only weapons in the game that can get that 40% debuff. Then on top of that, they can still get the weapons of light and a regular debuff, just like every other weapon in the game. So with that 40% included for fusions, it's still going to be a 1-to-1 comparison to other weapon types this season. I hope I explained that well enough and it makes sense to you guys. So let's go ahead and begin. The first one I want to look at is going to be 1000 Voices, the one used in the Prophecy Dungeon clip, one of my favorite weapons of all time, the Raid Exotic from Last Wish. And the reason this one is extremely good with this mod is because the first shot will proc the full times 5 stack before the bulk of the damage even hits, so you'll have that full combo for almost all of your shot. But a cool trick you can do with most heavies in the game is pair them with a regular fusion rifle and hit them with that to get the full times 5 stack going. That way the full heavy damage will be under the times 5 stack. So now with all that going on, one 1k shot does 136,000 damage on Carl, which is quite a lot for a single shot. Really good burst DPS. So looking at the DPS numbers of 1k, we're just going to do 1 mag because honestly 1 mag will kill most things in the game outside of like raid bosses. That takes just under 7 seconds, which means 80,000 DPS, which is obviously really good. Up there with some of the highest things in the entire game, for example rocket launchers. Then moving on to the Sleeper Simulant. Once again, we're going to use a trick where we hit them with a regular fusion first, and this is going to be really important because it will take 5 shots with Sleeper alone. So getting that times 5 first is super important, and it hits just under 100,000. Now look at the rate of fire of Sleeper for 2 magazines. So 3 shots, reload, then 3 shots. It's going to take 8 seconds, which means 1 mag was 88.5 thousand DPS and 2 mags was 73.2 thousand DPS. So the 1 mag number is a little bit higher than the 1k and pretty much up there with the highest burst things in the entire game. Then moving on to the Queen Breaker with the low impact high rate of fire version. It hits for 47.6 thousand. Now looking at rate of fire with 2 mags once again. So 5 shots, reload 5 shots. Going to take quite a while at 8.6 seconds, which means DPS is 64,000, then also 55.5 thousand. So obviously not that great for a heavy weapon. Still on par with a lot of the other things in the game, just not on par with what we've tested so far in this video. Then we also have the Threaded Needle with Vorpal, which is one of the best legendary linears in the game. We're getting damage on Carl. It's going to hit for 73.4 thousand. And like usual, looking at the rate of fire, 2 magazines. We're just going to shoot 5 shots both times, even though we have Clown Cartridge, just to keep it nice and consistent. That's going to take just over 10.4 seconds, which means DPS is almost 80,000, and 2 mags is still over 70,000. So those are really good from a legendary weapon, right up there with, you know, Anarchy slug combos. Now moving on to special weapons. The first one will be Merciless, which got a pretty big buff this season. So looking at that, we had to go to a strike boss because of the fact that it just killed Carl way too quick. So looking at damage on the Armor's Lord boss, It's only scaled pretty randomly, but the last 5 shots will all hit the same, as you see, like 88, 98 times 5. So the entire magazine did a total damage output on Carl of 379,000. So now we use that number for the DPS testing. Once again, back to the strike boss for the rate of fire. And this is shooting as fast as possible. One mag is going to take roughly 6 seconds. Then we edit in, you know, some reload clips to make it better. And the 2 magazines will take 13.3 seconds. So Merciless DPS is 62.5, then over 2 mags drops to 57,000, which is really good for a special weapon. Up next will be the Telesto, which is really good for ad clear, so it's going to be interesting to see what its DPS numbers are. So looking at damage on Carl, once again, this is a good one because you get the ×5 before a bulk of damage even hits. And one shot with the full ×5 will be 52.8 thousand. So using that for the DPS numbers. Since Telesto has a 7 magazine, the DPS is going to take forever and a half, as you see. Still going. Not even through 1 mag. 1 mag took just under 9 seconds. And 2 mags is going to take forever. Still going. At 18.7 seconds. So DPS of Telesto is 42. Then for 2 mags, 39.5. So obviously not that great, but still pretty much on par with a lot of specials in the game, for example, regular shotguns and snipers. But the thing about fusions this season is you can pair pretty much any fusion and linear fusion between your energy and heavy slot. And what you can do is pair that with my Vex Mythic class build I showed on Friday. And if you didn't watch that, recapping the mods I'm using, I use Quick Charge to become Charge of Light. I have stacks on stacks, that way every single time I get a double kill with the fusion, I'll get 2 stacks of Charge of Light. Then we have High Energy Fire for the infinite buff. Then we have Elemental Armaments to create Elemental Wells. Then we have Font of Might. When we pick them up, we'll get a 25% buff to our weapon damage. And all you have to do is match your fusion / linear fusion's damage type to your subclass, and that will work. And all those things will combo. So you could have the fusion 40% debuff, a 30% debuff, 35% from Weapons of Light, and then also 20% from High Energy Fire, for a total of 195% more damage. So 1k would go to 167,000 DPS with that full combo, which is obviously insane. Then Sleeper would go to 186,000, which is even crazier. Then over 2 mags, it'll still be at 154. So obviously that full combo with fusions this season is absolutely nasty, and that is what we were using in these Prophecy Dungeon boss clips. Pretty much all you have to do is become Chargeable Light before attacking the boss. Then make sure to hit them with your regular fusion a few times to get the ×5 going. Then one person will debuff with Tether. And we were just using Well, but optimally you would have Weapons of Light bubble instead. And that would provide the highest buff debuff combo possible in the game for fusions / linear fusions this season. And we were running it with 1k last night. And now that I've seen the numbers, I'll definitely try with Sleeper when we do it again to see if we can get the kills even faster and even more consistent. But either way, both weapons are extremely good this season. And the thing about fusion and linear fusion DPS numbers is in the real game, they're usually better than the numbers show. For example, most rockets can do like 80 to 90,000 burst DPS. Then over multiple shots, they drop to like the upper 60s, maybe lower 70s. Which was kind of on par with the 1k and the Sleeper DPS numbers in this video. But the thing about it, in the real game, you can miss with rockets very easily, while with 1k, it's pretty much near impossible to miss any of the damage. So you're going to be achieving those DPS numbers very consistently, while with rockets, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and in real practice, usually your DPS numbers don't usually match what the theoretical number is. So yeah, this build is absolutely insane with fusions and linear fusions this season. You can pretty much put on whichever one you want, and it'll work for all of them. So yeah, definitely use this build. I recommend it with Vex Myth class, 1k or Sleeper. All are extremely good. And yeah, I think that's me it for the video. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.
We got the new TV and it didn't